Shannon, I stand with America. How you going, Shannon? Shannon. MAHA is a start. I hope while Kennedy is on staff, he'll get to address not only Big Pharma, but how doctors are trained in medical school. Our system is broken, from training doctors to humane patient care and health insurance. It's all about the money. Yeah, what happened to the old ways of healing people? There are some uses for pharmaceuticals, right? I'm not saying that they're all, dangerous, but a lot of them are. Mike said, Big Pharma likes to go after your kids. Why wouldn't they go after your pets too? Thomas Sowell said, veterinarian Dr. John Robb, thousands of pets are dying from vaccinations they simply don't need. Now, this is not like fact, right? Just theory until proven fact in a court of law. But this guy, he's a veterinarian, and he's telling them, let's have a listen.
There are thousands of pets dying out there every day. While we sat at this table, 5, 6 pets died in the United States from a rabies vaccine they didn't need. Anybody can walk in here, sit down, and say whatever they want. But I gave you science.
All animals get the same dose of vaccine regardless of their size. A 5-pound cat will get the same amount as a 100-pound dog.
Yes,
veterinarians are now pleading with the government to change.
If I had to kill an animal to obey that law, would I have to do it? They said yes.
They're going to get me for copyright again. Research shows a full dose is dangerous and potentially lethal.
All this is unnecessary. If that dog had a titer check, it would not need a vaccination. So this is the real problem here. I had put upstairs in the public health department 45 articles that show vaccines are dose dependent. Titers indicate immunity. It's been proven.
Okay, but who's the we? Who's the we?
The researchers. The researchers. These are the researchers. They're the ones who do the research.
Okay. I've spent a
Problem, no matter how hard these vets push for change to save lives, they're taunted and laughed at by some of these officials.
But I completely don't agree with what you're saying.
She doesn't agree when she's laughing. What's even worse than being laughed?
Other health concerns for animals. Can you talk a little bit about that?
No one in these government assemblies seems to pay attention or even care.
Tumors at the injection sites. You get autoimmune diseases that start later in life, but you get
He's being ignored.
Reactions. Some dogs die immediately of anaphylaxis. Others get just serum sickness and they vomit, maybe hide under the bed for a day or two. But if I lower my dose, right, to protect the animal, then I'm in trouble. So I have to do what the manufacturer says, and like the State Board of Connecticut said, if I have to kill my pet, I have to kill my pet. It's the law. Well, guess what? I have a Hippocratic oath that is greater than any law that's passed in the state of Connecticut that would make me kill my patient. I won't do it.
Yeah, they were yawning. They were looking at their phones. Yep, okay. I've obviously gone on to look at the vaccine subject. Okay, now these are people's opinions, YouTube. Okay. Buddy Fuzzy said, don't forget about pet vaccines. They're just as deadly for animals as humans ones are to humans. Big Pharma gonna Big Pharma. Ava, I love my USA, replying to Liz Churchill, who said the flu vaccine is less effective this year, but you should take it. Look at this smug farmer whore. He's demanding you take the flu vaccine while simultaneously admitting that it doesn't work. We need public trials for these medical liars. Oh, can you just go away? I don't want grok every 5 minutes. Ava said, how did our grandparents live to be in their 90s without all these vaccines? Good God, stop putting big pharma poison into your bodies. It's just a money-making business. Okay? Forgot to like that one too. Disclosed TV, just in. CDC vaccine panel votes 8-3 to stop policy recommending that all infants get the hepatitis B vaccine at birth, according to Axios. Okay, this is what Trump and RFK have done. Carrie Kelly said the American Medical Association endorsement sounds prestigious, doesn't it? In the 1950s, 75% of doctors were in the AMA. Today it's just 15%. It's because the AMA no longer effectively represents practicing doctors' interests. The AMA represents Big Pharma and Big Food. And not all doctors are bad, you know, because, I mean, we've got Timmy and he actually, like, when was the last time, you know, you heard of a doctor who cures someone? You know what I mean? When was the last time your doctor cured anyone? Not just gave them, like, a medication to try and just keep them at peace, you know? Well, Timmy actually does try to help people and tries to make them better. And I have great respect for that. Toby Rogers said the reason Big Pharma's fighting so hard to stop the birth dose of the hepatitis B vaccine from being moved is that any change to the schedule will produce a signal in the data and reveal that the birth dose of the hepatitis B vaccine is the main driver, this person believes, of the autism epidemic. Okay? But it has come in around the same time that autism went skyrocketing, but yeah, we still need tests to show. Okay, Howard note telling. So just test the mothers and only vaccinate babies likely infected, otherwise there's no reason. US Senator Bill Cassidy, MD, said as a liver doctor who's treated patients with hepatitis B for decades, this change to the vaccine schedule is a mistake, he reckons. The Hep B vaccine is safe and effective. The birth dose is a recommendation, not a mandate. Before the birth dose was recommended, 20,000 newborns a year were infected, okay? Now it's fewer than 20. Ending the recommendation for newborns, they don't need it. Jesus. Okay, here we go. Who's at higher risk? Infants born to infected mothers. Yeah, test the mothers. People with multiple sexual partners or men who have sex with men. Well, men aren't having babies. But yeah, if your partner goes and has sex with a man, comes back to you, you might be in trouble. People who inject drugs, healthcare workers, people living with someone who has chronic HBV, hemodialysis patients, travellers to high prevalence countries without vaccinations. Okay. So how about they just test a mother and only vaccinate then? Sounds logical to me. Okay, Graham Allen said Trump has exposed Big Pharma. There is no going back. If anyone in Congress starts supporting Big Pharma over affordability, they should be primaried ASAP. You've been warned. Oh, shit, my bloody mouse. Mike Gallagher said, make no mistake, Big Pharma's lobbyists will try to hijack this process to keep Americans locked into paying the highest drug prices in the world to deliver healthcare affordability for the American people. Put the American consumer first and make this a winning issue for the midterms. Congress must reject Big Pharma's self-serving blame game designed to stack the RX market further in favour of big drug companies. Mike Johnson says House GOP working full steam ahead on Trump's affordability agenda. Okay, let's have a listen to what Trump said.
A statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you...
It's the establishment. That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing. There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. Yep. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh, if you do this, you're going to die. There's no downside.
Statement that was put out by the American College.
Okay. So they've been warned. How you going, Cheryl and Sherry and Eric? How you going, guys? Good to see you guys. Shannon said, vote for Pedro. Okay. Nicholas Holchus, MPH, said if adults won't go for the shots, then give them to babies. That was the real reason behind pharma-captured ACIP adding the hepatitis B shot to the newborn schedule, as revealed by the New York Times in 1991. Big Pharma targets the babies when consenting adults refuse. US panel urges that all children be vaccinated for hepatitis B. If adults won't go for the shots, then give them to the babies. Jesus, anything to make money on these people, man. It is the first time that the Immunisation Practices Advisory Committee of the Public Health Service has recommended vaccinating children for a disease whose victims are almost always adults. This is crazy. He said officials hoped on the three shots would give lifetime immunity against hepatitis B, but that there was no way to be sure because the vaccine had only been around for 10 years. Surveys of healthcare workers showed that they underestimated their chances of getting hepatitis and rationalised not being vaccinated by saying they worried that the vaccination itself might be more risky than the chance they would get the disease. Wow. Riley Gaines said, so when will they tell us why it was recommended in the first place? Leading report said breaking CDC vaccine panel votes 8-3 to stop policy recommending that all infants get their hepatitis B vaccine because people have been calling them out for ages. Wow. Clandestine said Trump and RFK Jr. taking common sense approach to vaccines is one of the major reasons myself and many others voted for Trump. Trump and his administration will no longer allow Big Pharma to use our children to boost their profits with unnecessary vaccines. Huge. Today, the CDC Vaccine Committee made a very good decision to end their hepatitis B vaccine recommendations for babies, the vast majority of whom are at no risk of hepatitis B, a disease that's mostly transmitted sexually or through dirty needles. So tell me again why babies need them. The American childhood vaccine schedule long required 72 jabs for perfectly healthy babies, far more than any other country in the world, and far more than is necessary. In fact, it's ridiculous. Many parents and scientists have been questioning the efficacy of the schedule, as have I. That is why I've just signed a presidential memorandum directing the Department of Health and Human Services to fast-track a comprehensive evaluation of vaccine schedules from other countries around the world and better align the US vaccine schedule so it's finally rooted in the gold standard of science and common sense. I'm fully confident Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the CDC will get this done quickly and correctly for our nation's children. Thank you for your attention to this matter. MAHA.